But ultimately, we're out here to share the love of Christ, to deliver the gospel message, to make sure that these people that we have the privilege of serving understand that they're loved and they're cared for, and even though they may be living under a bridge or in a tent in the woods or in a rescue shelter somewhere, that there are people that are praying for them, that love them, that want to see them uplifted in life.
I knew there was an issue. I knew it was a deep-rooted problem. I just didn't know what it was. And I couldn't visualize my life without alcohol, really. Drinking, heroin, coke, alcohol. The cocaine, the crack was a big problem for mine. That really stuff that took me to my knees. I did some serious stealing from the family. I took some bonds were worth like $17,000 and stuff out of the safe, and I used them, etc. And so at one point, I was always the apple of his eye, the golden child in the family, and he looked at me and he told me I wasn't his son anymore. That's how bad it got. Before I know it, I was holding jobs down less and less. I could hold down a job for maybe a year, and then it was 6 months, and it was 3 months, and then I get my first paycheck and I wasn't employed anymore. And I ended up living outside in a tent off and on for a couple years. And it was just pretty harsh living, living in the winters and sub-zero weather, and things were getting pretty ugly, but I couldn't seem to get any traction. I could always describe it as being stuck like in quicksand, where you just can't get started. You don't have the ability to shower, to have clean clothes, I didn't have a license anymore at this point. One day, I was up on the hill by my friend's tent, hungry, and I heard there were some church people down at the train station, and they were giving out food. And I said, that sounded pretty good to me. So I went down there, and it was RHM Ministries, which I didn't know the name at the time, but they were having Bible study at the back of the train station. And so I sat there and kind of listened, and I actually missed the food that day, but then after the Bible study, one of the RHM members came up to me and actually got me some food and stuff, so that was a blessing. And I started coming back to that. They had Bible study twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays at the back of the train stations. But I watched them, and they were consistent. They came, they showed up, they always showed love, and they actually showed like they cared, right? They finally opened the RHM house. There was talk about it for a while. And at this point, I had been coming to the Bible study for the better part of a year at this point. The relationship had been developed pretty well. And then when the whole house did open up, I was one of the first people invited. I was the third person. In the first month that it opened, there was 3 of us invited in. I was the third person invited in. I don't think I was really trying to do any kind of change, so to speak. I wasn't really embracing what RHM is all about. Right? The whole point is establishing a relationship, a dependency, and a relationship with God through Jesus. And so after a few months, I decided I was going to leave, and I did. And things went south real fast again. Real bad. Just went on like a 2-week binge. And finally called Eric, and he came and got me. He really didn't have to do that, but he came and scooped me up from basically a crack house. And I fought it the first time. I was resisting it. I was thinking about trying to get out of there. I love it there now. The house is really a special place.
So Mike is just one of many of the men that live at the mission house, and one of hundreds that we interact with on a regular basis throughout the month. When we initially started, we did not have the ability to start a women's house. We learned over time that the struggle that the women face on the street is considerably different. Women on the street of Trenton are chased, are prey, are objects to use up. Ultimately, these people have been torn down, and they need to be rebuilt in the hope that Christ provides. This is our calling. It's something that we know the Lord wants us to do, and we really, really need your help. we could immediately fill a house. We have that many women that we could bring in that have been attending studies and attending church and serve alongside us as they feed their sisters on the street. It's time.